Good afternoon, everyone. It's Sal Stretford. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope everyone's had a fantastic day so far. And everyone is taking it easy, taking it nice and easy, guys. It's really good to have you guys on board here today. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Guys, before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and smash a like on the video. Could be as kind of do that for me. Would you do that for me? You're absolutely great people. Thank you very much, everyone who's joined me today, this afternoon. Now, let's get straight into it, guys. Look, Manchester United, of course, you know what? News sells Manchester United. Manchester United sells news, of course, as we all know. And without Manchester United, I don't know what these journalists will do. But there is no smoke without fire. And you know, when there is transfer news, when there's news in general, generally there's no smoke without fire. And there is a little bit of element of truth into every story that you hear. Not all stories, of course. Some of it is absolutely dud, but a lot of it is true. Manchester United do have a transfer wish list that is extending by the day. It's either extending or, you know what, we're just getting exposed to another name that is on that list. So let's get into it. Manchester United are interested in a couple of players, one of which is Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha is a Wolverhampton Wanderers player, of course. I mean, that guy, he has everything. He's a fantastic player, of course, brilliant player. And you know what? I've been a fan of this player for a while, but you know what? He will cost a little bit of money. If we go into the actual article right now, let's have a read of this. So Matheus Cunha, of course, is a forward. Matheus, it's an attacking midfielder stroke forward, guys. From Graham Bailey, extremely reliable source, of course, guys. Very, very talented player. Holding Wolves up at the moment. I mean, absolutely a brilliant player. Wolves won 4-1 against Fulham the other day. And you know what? He was absolutely phenomenal. And one thing is that, you know, he's got Premier League experience, you know, got pace, can cross, can score. A very, very talented player. I mean, where do they get these players from? Lots of good scouting, of course, guys. This is the kind of thing that we need to do in future in regards to Ineos and scouting players. We need to be the first ones on the list, the chase for these players, rather than letting these teams like Wolves and Fulham, etc., buy these type of players. So Man United are interested in the forward Matheus Cunha this season. They may go after him in January. Manchester United are looking to bolster their squad by the end of the season. It doesn't look like Man United will spend much money. Maybe Man United can do a deal with Wolverhampton Wanderers with an obligation to buy. So it could be an obligation to buy, a loan with an obligation to buy, something like that. So he is a good player. Very, very, very talented, of course, in regards to that. And playing for Wolves, Premier League experience. You can't ask for much more when it comes to a player that you need. Young, Premier League experience, of course, absolutely Brazilian. But he's been playing in this country, of course. You know what? He is 25 years old, and you know, it is sort of on the edge of what Ineos want. He's had 12 matches, 7 goals this season, so far this season, 3 assists. So he's not a bad player. You know what? He's got a lot about him, and if he was playing in a team like Manchester United, I think he would thrive. He would thrive at the end of the day. Just because he plays for Wolves, people are going to underestimate him. They're going to downplay him, of course. Do you know what I mean? So, but he would cost. His market value is around 45 million euros, guys. 45 million euros. It's not that bad. About 32, 33 million pounds. So, you know what? It's not that bad, is it? You know, and it's another player on the conveyor belt of the Manchester United ever-growing transfer wish list, of course, guys. But he is a player that we are very, very interested in. According to what I know, Manchester United do have him on their radar. And because of his Premier League experience, it does give him a slight advantage in regards to who we sign next. Of course, guys. Let's read some of your comments. Sal is a legend. Thank you so much, UK Rap. Hope you're doing well. Big up the chat. Of course. Big up. Being a fan since the music days, you and Reds are proper inspirational records. You're still my album. Big up, Redwood Tower. It's good to see you, mate. Thank you so much, my friend. Big up the legend, of course, Redwood Tower. Big up, my friend. Absolutely. Sal, the boss. Big up, POS. You are the boss, my friend. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Absolutely. Ijoma. Afternoon, boss. How you doing, Ijoma? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Absolutely good to see you. Big up, Danny B, the legend, of course. LT, the legend. Big up, Sal. Big up yourself. Absolutely. Is Cunha better for United? Cunha's a good player. Look, I'm not going to say anything bad about him, or if I was to bring in a negative, I mean, you know what? It wouldn't be like my first choice in regards to if I was going to buy an attacking player. My sort of belief is that we should bring in someone younger, someone like a Gula or a player like that from Real Madrid. But it doesn't look like Man United are going to go after him this summer. But you know what? He is the good player, and his Premier League experience. It's something that maybe Sir Alex Ferguson would have looked at. Because if you remember when we signed Antonio Valencia when he was playing for Wigan, of course, you know, I was like, why are we signing Antonio Valencia? He was a winger at that time, but ended up being a right back, but one of our best right backs in the last 15 years, of course, as we remember. Brilliant on his day, and people were casting him as probably the best right back, right wing back in the world, you know, at one point. Danny B, we were linked to Cunha at the start of the summer, but we cheaped out and got Xerxes. Yeah, that's the problem, Danny B. We can't be penny pinching with these players. At the end of the day, it's penny pinching. I mean, it costs 45 million euros. At the moment, it costs less than Xerxes, doesn't he? At the moment, it costs less than Xerxes, when in theory, he should be more expensive than Xerxes, isn't it? But he costs less. His market value is 45 million euros. So, you know what? It is very, very gettable. But you know what? Do we trust Xerxes? Do we trust him going forward? Would you trust Xerxes? Do you want Xerxes to stay at the football club? That is the big question, of course. I mean, obviously, I'm not too sure what with Ruben Amorim, where he stands in regards to Xerxes. He did say he needs to go into the box a little bit more after the game against Ipswich Town, which is, you know, very, very true. You know what? We don't want players just lurking around in the middle of the midfield, you know, just going tacking stroke midfield, not exactly got a position. That is what Xerxes is doing at the moment. He needs to be assertive in his positioning, get into the box and score goals. Players like Cunha, of course, look, you know what? I'm going to say it like this, guys. And, you know, I think it's true that players like Cunha, Wolves, let's say Wolverhampton Wanderers, there's not a heavy shirt. It's not a heavy shirt, so there's not a lot of pressure in playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. When you come to Manchester United, there's extreme amounts of pressure playing for the football club. The shirt is extremely heavy, guys. And that is the thing with it, you know. And we ignore this sometimes, how big a club that Manchester United is. We're absolutely huge. And it isn't easy to adapt to the culture of Manchester United and the expectations of Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? Someone was saying earlier in the chat that, you know what, it was easier for to slot into, so to speak, Liverpool. It was harder. It was harder for to slot into Liverpool than it was for Amorim to come into Manchester United. I beg to differ. Manchester United is a different animal. And Man United are at the depths of the sea at the moment. And we have to swim all the way back up to reach the top, to reach the surface. Liverpool are already there. Liverpool handed the keys over to Slot and just needed to press play. That's what it is. And in my opinion, it's a very, very difficult job at Manchester United. And it's the same with players. When you go to Manchester United, it is a different animal, a different expectation, of course. And a lot of these players don't know about these expectations. They don't understand what these expectations are, you know. And when they go there, they're like, wow, really? This club is like that? Goodness. Pios, my friend, Pios, is there any news on January's signing? Yeah, this is Cunha. Man United are talking about Cunha. Man United can't really afford anything in January at the moment, the way we're seeing things. But Man United can do a deal, an obligation to buy. So a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Man United could do a deal with Cunha, Mateus Cunha, with an obligation to buy. That will be the theme of the January transfer window. Of course, we still have a month of all to see what happens. Ruben Amorim's going to have to make a decision if he does want anyone this winter, of course, in January. I myself, a left back, I would say a left back. If he's not going to play Harry Amas, I would just say go for a left back, get a left back on loan. If it's a loan, that's fine. We need someone in there. But you know what? It looks like if we do a deal, a permanent deal, it will be a loan with an obligation to buy. Ineos, however, do have money available, subject to popular belief. They have money available. They have money on the side. Do you remember when Erik ten Hag was going to be sacked? People were telling us we can't afford to sack him. We can't afford to sack him. We actually sacked him, paid him money, and bought out Amorim's contract from Sporting Lisbon at the end of the day. So you know what I mean? They have got money. They have money to one side, of course, guys. Absolutely. Joma, I heard that United chasing my brother, Boniface and Nuno Mendes. Absolutely. I spoke about Nuno Mendes this morning, Joma. Nuno Mendes, of course, worked with Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon, signed for PSG. He is sort of Basically, he is sort of thinking about signing a new contract at PSG at the moment. Fabrizio Romano has spoken about the new contract at PSG. Man United could get him, but his contract doesn't expire till 2026. So if Man United are going to get him, they have to get him now, guys. They have to get him now if they're going to get him. They have to get him right now because his price is going to go up if he signs a new contract, of course. 2026, his contract runs out, of course, Nuno Mendes. And obviously, he would like a move to Manchester United. You know, it seems like those players who play for PSG, it doesn't seem to work out for them. Is PSG a nice club to go to? Because a lot of players do leave that club. Is the pressures too much for some of these players, of course? Is it too much? You know, is the pressure too much for some of these players at PSG? You know, and I have to say yes, because no one is really making it there. No one is really succeeding there. Do you know what I mean? And that is an issue, of course. Nuno Mendes is a fantastic player, Portuguese international, so he is on the list. I spoke about him earlier in the show, went in depth about his career, etc., and he is a good player, and I wouldn't mind him at Manchester United. When you visit me, when I'm near you, I will come, my friend. When I'm near you, I'll come. I'm in the UAE at the moment, so yeah, definitely, I would love to come, my friend. I would love to go there, but when I'm near you, I would definitely go there, my friend. Absolutely. What about Hernandez Milan? Yeah, I'm going to get into that right now, my friends. Manchester United are interested in Theo Hernandez of AC Milan. People were saying to us, "Oh, why would Theo Hernandez sign for Manchester United?" It's pretty simple. We're Manchester United. No, we're not only that, but Manchester United are interested in Theo Hernandez, another left back, of course, very, very attacking left back. This is what we have to remember. This is the type of player that Manchester United are going to be going after because of that wing back, right back position that Man United need. You know, at the moment, we don't have the right position. We don't have the right players to implement that system, of course. LT. January window is open, so good. Going to be linked with so many players, absolutely. But Ruben's assessment will be pivotal because they are a plan for the summer. But it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, LT? At the moment, we need players, but at the same time, we want to be fresh in the summer and get the players that, you know what, after this season, we will know more about these players and more about the squad, especially Ruben Amorim. He doesn't really know much about the squad in regards to can they down tool their mentality, etc. He's going to take time for him. He's only been there a couple of weeks at the end of the day, you know. So he's still learning. He's still learning about these players. He don't know if these players are going to play for a few weeks and then after that going to down tool, which we've seen loads of times. But Manchester United could do a deal in January. It could be a loan with an obligation to buy it, of course. So we'll have to watch this space, guys. Just watch this space. Anything can happen in January. Man United could support him. One thing is for certain: Ineos are going to back Ruben Amorim to the bone. They're going to back him to the bone. They're going to absolutely give him what he wants because this is their appointment. This is the Ineos baby at the end of the day. It's their appointment. They don't want this appointment to go wrong. You know what? First impressions count for everything. They are still on fraud watch with some people. I mean, I'm watching them very, very cautiously, of course. I'm watching them very cautiously in regards to what they do next. What's their next move? So far, I think they've done good. I really do think they've done good. So far, I can't argue in regards to what they've done. Of course, guys. So Ruben Amorim is interested in bringing in Theo Hernandez to Manchester United. Of course, Alex Brown, one of my friends, of course, guys. He is interested in bringing Theo Hernandez. So Ruben Amorim is a fan of Theo Hernandez, of course. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of left backs that Manchester United are linked with. And one thing is for certain, all these players that we're linked with, they're all talented players, of course. They're all talented players. I mean, Theo Hernandez has had 10 appearances this season, 2 goals, 2 assists from his position. You know what I mean? So that's good. You know what I mean? He's a French international, of course, a left back that we need, but he will fetch in valuation of around 60 million euros. So around 60 million euros it will cost. It'll cost a lot of money, but he's another very, very talented winger, left back, of course, guys. So what we say is this. Every single left back, whether it is Araujo, whether it is Giovanni, whether it is Theo Hernandez, whoever it is, guys. One thing is for certain, right? Whether it's Quenda, whether it's Nuno Mendes, one thing's for certain, guys, is that all those players that are going to be on our list are going to be extremely talented. So if we get one of those left backs, we'll be laughing at the end of the day, won't we? We'll be happy. And because obviously they are talented, so every single player on our list is talented and they will fit like a glove in Ruben Amorim's system. Contrary to proper belief, Man United don't have much to do in that squad. I think they have a strong squad. I think anyone who says Man United squad isn't strong is a liar. We do have some issues in regards to positioning and stuff like that. But you know what? I don't think it is a bad squad, if I'm being honest with you. Joe, are the players going out for? Are we going to go for all the players and get none? Man United, like it's basically Man United. It's not like throwing something in the air and hoping it sticks, or throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. Man United are very calculated in the players that they want. Remember, in the summer, Man United wanted Jared Branthwaite. They didn't get Jared Branthwaite, so the next option was Lenny Yoro. So they got Lenny Yoro, and he is a talented player, someone we're very excited about. This is a similar theme going to be in the summer. Ineos said at the start of the season that transfer window is not going to be the last transfer window that is like that, basically. So basically, we're going to bring it into the next transfer window in the summer, and Manchester United will spend money. They will spend money, and they will back. I mean, imagine this, right? They will back Amorim. They will back Amorim because imagine this. They appoint Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim is successful. They come out smelling like a bunch of roses, don't they? That's what they want to do. At the end of the day, Ineos smashed it. Ineos got a Ruben Amorim. Well done, Ineos. They're the ones who are going to be giddy. They're the ones who are going to be celebrated and say, look, my goodness me, well done, Ineos. They've done the business, didn't they? Big up, Pell. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. A striker and a left back coming in January. Hope could help us a little bit. It would help us. Of course, it would help us, of course. But January is a very dodgy time to do business when it comes to spending money, because you know what? Generally, it doesn't really work. I mean, obviously, we signed Bruno in the January transfer window. Famously, we signed Andy Cole in the January transfer window. But other than that, I don't think it really works. And you know what? Unless we're very short, I mean, what I would do, I would bring in a left back on loan. I would bring that and save our money till the summer. And let's see what happens in the summer. But don't be surprised if something does happen, because the window is shut now. Ruben Amorim is going to be backed. Make no mistakes. He will be backed by Ineos, and you know what? Don't be surprised if we do deals in January transfer window. We do have the money available. They're not going to say how much money we have available. That is not what they do. Obviously, they're businessmen. They don't want to overexcite the fan base and stuff, but they do have money available. They are ready to pounce when ready with Ruben Amorim, and they're ready to bring him in the players that he wants at the club, of course. The likes of Hernandez, Una Mendes, Boniface, Coleman, absolutely loads of them. All on the transfer window, of course, guys. Loads of these players, absolutely loads of these players on the transfer list, of course, guys. So at the end of the day, look, you know, Manchester United in the final third and maybe forced to seek solutions in the transfer market to reignite attacking power, basically. This is exactly what it is. According to Sky, Germany journalist Florian Plattenberg, Man United have their sights set on striker Victor Boniface. Now, what do you guys think of this? Of course, he's an interesting option. Do you know what I mean? You know what? We've just started talking about Boniface, of course, guys. He's a Bayer Leverkusen player, you know, striker, of course. A Bayern Leverkusen striker. But are we getting a little bit giddy about Bayern Leverkusen strikers? I mean, he has 10 appearances this season. 6 goals, 1 assist this season. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. The guy's 23. He's not bad. And he would only be a market value of 45 million euros. So what do you guys think of that? Now, my question would be, you know, where do they get these players from? Where initially do they get these players from? Is it, the scouting network is very good. So we got to pick up these players before they become great players. The problem is in the Premier League, it's so much pressure to perform that you can't give these youngsters a chance. We don't know if Obi Martin is going to be the next Thierry Henry. We don't know that, do we? But you know what he could do? The fact is, though, is that we're just not giving them enough game time, because the pressures of winning in the Premier League is astronomical, isn't it? So, you know what? We have to also think about the youth players as well, because these players are young. Granted, they're young, but we have youth players as well. We have obviously Wheatley and Obi Martin. But Victor Boniface, obviously, is very talented Nigerian international, 23 years old, playing for Bayer Leverkusen. Of course, Bayer Leverkusen, they've had a lot of PR over the last year or so, having won the Bundesliga, of course. They might win the Bundesliga again, of course. Obviously, looks like Xabi Alonso will be going to Real Madrid. He's definitely going to Real Madrid, guys, by the way. Xabi Alonso, I'm saying 80% sure Xabi Alonso is going to Real Madrid. So when Xabi Alonso does leave Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen are going to decline a little bit. And a lot of those players in that Bayer Leverkusen team, the likes of Frimpong, of course, the likes of Boniface, of course, the likes of Tar, of course, remember Jonathan Tar? Those type of players, will be interested to have interest from Manchester United, of course, guys. Let's have a look. Big up, Sal. Big up, Brian. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. I watched Rashford on Sunday. Apart from the goal he scored, he did nothing. He was subbed. Absolutely, Gioma, who's poor at the end of the day. You know what? We have to be very careful with these players because you know what? We don't want Garnacho going in the same direction as Marcus Rashford. As we know, Marcus Rashford, when he burst onto the scene, he was brilliant. He was brilliant, But since then, he hasn't really regressed in the way that we had hoped. He hasn't really played as good as in the way that we had hoped, of course, guys. So, we don't want Garnacho going down that route because in regards to Garnacho, if we're being honest with ourselves, he hasn't really improved, his technical abilities and his final ball, etc. But one thing we have to remember that the guy is still 20. He's still 20. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on his shoulders to perform. He does almost play every game, doesn't he? He plays maybe too many games. But I guarantee you, if Garnacho was transfer listed tomorrow, Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan, Bayern Munich, PSG will be after his signature. Believe that. Why are they going to be after his signature? He's top scorer for Man United. He's 20 years old. He can develop into a great player. He's already an Argentinian international, which is no mean feat. You're an Argentinian international. That means that you're one of the best players in Argentina. We know the talent that comes out of Argentina, don't we? So you know what? To play for Argentina is good. Fantastic. We have to support the lads. We have to keep believing in him. Of course, we shouldn't put too much pressure on him. Of course, if he doesn't, we shouldn't play him every game. He should play on the bench sometimes, in my opinion. In my opinion, of course, guys. LT, if there is an emergency needs signing, I'm sure Amarin will know by then because he sounds intelligent and saw what we see from these players, and that's from game one game. So I think he'll know by January. Yeah, he's a very, very smart guy. Ruben Amarin's smart. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. He's been around football. Ruben Amarin as a player played in numerous amounts of positions: right back, left back, centre back, midfield, striker. He's even played in goal. Right, that's Ruben Amarin. So Ruben Amarin is an expert on positioning, expert on, various positions. And that's why he's so versatile. That's why his tactics are so, confusing sometimes to some people. It's going to take time for Man United to implement those tactics. You need to be smart. You need to have an IQ to implement his tactics. And unfortunately, there's some players in our squad who don't have the IQ. I'm not saying they don't have the talent. The IQ is different. The IQ is about making the right decision at the right time. When to shoot, when not to shoot, when to cross, when not to cross. That is football IQ. And a lot of our players, more times than not, make the wrong decision, don't they? They're always making the wrong decision. And you know what? This is partly the reason why we don't score many goals. Brian, so would you put Tito Martins on the bench on Thursday? 100%, Brian, 120,000%. Because at the end of the day, what is the harm? I think it's much better putting a player like Obi Martin on the bench than putting two goalkeepers on the bench. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what we've been doing. We've been putting two goalkeepers on the bench. I'd much rather us put in Obi Martin or a Fletcher, any young player in that squad. I'd much rather, of course, Ibrahimov, of course, as well, who had 3 assists in half an hour the other night. You know what I mean? For the reserves, for the youth team, of course. 3 assists in half an hour. That guy's scoring for fun. So, there's a number of players there that I would rather on the bench than a player that is no point putting him on the bench. And I'm talking about a goalkeeper. 2 goalkeepers is unnecessary. Do you know what I mean? 2 goalkeepers and players that are 35, 36 years old. I think we need to look to the future, in my opinion. Gentlemen, if I was to Man United coach, I would not play Rashford until I see improvement from him training. This is why, I'm a big advocate for performance-related wages. That's what I am. But you know what? Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The problem that we're having these days in regards to football and power is that these footballers, if they don't get what they want, they go to another club. And the other club, there's always going to be one club that will pay them what they want. It's about time we had caps on wages. It's about time it was a PGMOL rule that they have to have a cap on the wages, because at the moment, these wages are getting too high. They're astronomical, and these players are not playing. They're like, oh, I've got 350 grand in a week. I get an appearance bonuses. I get my sponsorship bonuses. I get my goal bonuses, not to mention a little signing on fee that I get when I sign a new contract. These players are multi-millionaires that earn $1 million a week, some of them. So we need a cap on that. It's too much money. It's taking the edge out of the game. As I've been speaking a lot and preaching a lot about the grassroots of football, the street footballer, so to speak, that is on the decline. It's dying, the street footballer. That's why talent has regressed so much. That's why we don't get world-class players in every single team like we did in the old days, of course, guys. I'm talking about the 90s. Do you know what I mean? When even Southampton had world-class players. Do you know what I mean? Matt Letizia was a world-class player. You know what I mean? Aston Villa, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal all had world-class players. You know what I mean? Chelsea had the likes of Gianfranco Zola, Gianluca Vialli, Roberto Di Matteo, Dennis Wise, Frank Leboeuf, Marcel Desailly, Dan Petrescu. Do you know what I mean? Graham Lasso. They had players like that and they couldn't win the league. They were coming 5th and 6th. You know what I mean? So, and nowadays, if that team was in this day and age, that team would challenge for a title. That team would challenge for a title. Absolutely. Ahmad was going front and back, and I believe Ahmad will get playing time at Rashford. I mean, I would play Ahmad in a more advanced position. I don't know what you guys think, but I would play Ahmad in a more advanced position, if I'm being honest. Absolutely. Then let's get rid of Rashford now before things get worse. It's not easy. This is the thing. It's not easy. We're not going to sell him this season. Definitely not. Ruben Amorim is going to see at the end of the season. Our squad is quite low at the moment in regards to numbers. So we cannot get rid of another attacking player. We're very short on attacking players when you think about it, especially now that we have to pay 2 behind the striker and obviously wing backs, so to speak, on the left and the right. So we need as many of those players as humanly possible. Going forward, of course, I don't think we can sell anyone now until the transfer window opens in the summer, which I feel like there's going to be a lot of ins and outs. I personally believe there's going to be about 5 or 6 players who leave the football club, and there will be 5 or 6 players coming in. I really do. Even more, if we're being honest. Joe Major and Abscary about Rashford, needs to be sold, Brian, needs to go. More trouble than it's worth. Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, trouble seems to follow Marcus Rashford. I'm not on anyone's side here, but we have to face the facts and what we see and what we hear every single season. Marcus Rashford has problem. If it's not Belfast, it's going to bloody New York for a boxing match. If it's not a boxing match, it's to do with his relationship with his girlfriend. If it's not his girlfriend, it's a family issue. Stuff like that, it's just too much. It's too much baggage that comes with Marcus Rashford. And for me, personally, I think that's enough. Now it's about time that we just cut a loss with him and let him go, of course. Guys, Omar Barada has been speaking to the media, of course, just today. Said a number of things about the future of Manchester United. If I bring up some of the quotes for you guys, just so you can have a little look at the quotes. Of course, Omar Barada said, the season is now well underway for both our men's and women's team, and we are keen to ensure both are as competitive as possible. Now, when we get to Manchester United, we get to Omar Barada. Omar Barada is a huge reason why, we got certain players. This is the reason why I'm confident we can get hold of Alphonso Davies, etc. Because of this man, Omar Barada. I think he is the talisman. He's the man who makes the magic happen in regards to negotiation, in regards to persuasion. This man is the man that can make it happen. I really do believe that. He's the guy. He goes on to say, our renovation of the Carrington Training Centre is progressing well. While the Old Trafford Regeneration Task Force continues its work, once it's been delivered its recommendations, we will then take some time to digest them and evaluate all our options in the coming year. So look, that can mean anything, of course, guys. That can mean anything in a way of players, in a way of regeneration of the area, the stadium development, etc. So you know what, Man United are going to be evaluating a lot of things. As time goes on, time is an education in regards to Manchester United. As time goes on, Manchester United are, learning a new thing. This ownership are learning something new. Like a bit like Ruben Amorim did against Ipswich Town. He looked at those players in training and thought, okay, they're not bad. But when they got in the training pitch, when they got in the proper pitch against Ipswich Town, they didn't perform. And he's like, wow, this is harder than I think. This is harder than I thought. Absolutely. Omar Barada goes on to say, our cost and headcount reductions remain on track. The Old Trafford Regeneration Task Force continues its work. Once it's delivered its recommendations, we will take some time to digest it. Yeah, exactly the same comment, guys, I just read. Sorry, guys, but that is exactly what I mean. So our cost and headcount reductions remain on track. So basically, headcount reductions is in the staff. Of course, this is not nice to hear. When you hear people losing their jobs, it's not nice to hear, of course, but you know what? Manchester United have to do what they have to do. But it does have a little bit of a bitter feeling when players like Marcus Rashford are earning 350 grand a week, you know what I mean, and not performing on the pitch, yet someone with a mortgage loses their job, of course, earning 1,000 a month, whatever they're earning, of course. We are delighted to have appointed Ruben Amorim as head coach and remain committed to turning Manchester United to the top of domestic and European football. And you know what I believe in? I believe in, guys. I believe Ruben Amorim. I believe the process. I believe Manchester United are going to move forward. I believe they will end up winning the league title. I do believe it. I'm so confident in what Man United are going to do over these next few years. You know, I bank on it. I would bank on Man United getting back to where they want to be because the backroom staff, Ineos, etc., are super determined, incredibly determined. It's not just Jim Ratcliffe, it's Omar Barada, you know, it's the whole team, it's Wilcox, it's Ashwood, of course, you know what I mean, Christopher Ravel, it's those people, you know what, that are going to bring Manchester United forward. And I firmly believe that with the help of these guys, Man United will get back to where they need to go. Yes, there's going to be some pain. Ruben Amorim said it a couple of days ago. There will be pain, there will be disappointment, there will be anger. But rest assured that, you know what, we're working towards where we want to go and how we want to go. And we want to challenge for the title. That ultimately, that's where Manchester United should be, of course, should be. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's read some of your comments out. Sal, would you put Cheeto? Yeah, I think I read that one. Let me see this one. Man United coach until, yeah, I think I read that one as well. Big up Ijeoma. Ahmed was going front and back. I think I read that. Big up Ijeoma. And let's get rid of, yeah, I think I read those ones. Of course, I really liked Rashford before, but now it doesn't think after playing or watch it himself. And one thing I would say about Marcus Rashford, you know what? We all have egos. Some of us, I don't have an ego at all. I'm a very humble guy, guys. I'm a very humble guy. But there are a lot of players, these footballers who have egos. I remember when I used to work, in a place where, you know, a lot of footballers go to. And a lot of footballers are the most egotistical people you can ever meet. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. You meet them, you generally get very disappointed. As the famous saying goes, never meet your heroes. Never meet your heroes. And I believe that is one of the biggest quotes that I would say. Never meet your heroes, because the heroes I've met, I've been very, very disappointed. You know, people I loved, I've been very, very disappointed. I never forget when I checked Eric Cantona's ticket. I used to work in Eurostar, guys, believe it or not, in London. And Eric Cantona came through and I said, Eric, what's going on? Eric, what's going on? And he was like, so one thing about Eric Cantona, he's shy. You don't think it, but he's shy. You know what I mean? He's very shy and he doesn't speak much, of course. He doesn't speak much. LT, you guys, yeah, guys, I also agree. I think it's time to separate with Rashford. I don't see him improving because at his age, he's in his peak, yet he hasn't been consistent for almost a while. And you know what? Why are we still forcing it? Exactly, LT. Why are we still squeezing it, hoping that things change? It's not going to change. You know, we have to, sometimes we have to take a hit and say, look, Rashford, Marcus, it's not working. You know what? We're going to sell you at a discount price. We need you off the books. It might be better for your career. Sometimes leaving is better for these players' career. I think if Rashford leaves, it's better for his career. I do generally believe he's stagnating at Man United. I think that, it's over for him at the club. I don't think he's going to recapture that level. He's lost his pace, of course, which is one of his major attributes at Manchester United over the years, of course. He's lost that. I mean, unless we play him up front, I mean, he did score the other day, fair credit. You know, he couldn't miss at the end of the day. I mean, I would have been shocked if he missed that goal. But you know what? I just don't think he works the team well. He don't work in that tactics well. He doesn't hold up the ball. He doesn't bring players into play. And that's the issue that we're having with him, of course. Good afternoon, Kazi. How you doing? Hope everyone is well. Hope you're doing good, Kazi. Big up, bro. Kazi, big up, Kazi. Big up, Brian. Big up, everyone. Big up, Kazi, of course. So off to training, boss. Big up, Ijeoma. Good luck in your training, my friend. I hope you smash it today. I hope you get a couple of goals. I still don't know what position you are, boss. I don't know what position you are. I know that you play football, but I don't know what position you are at the moment. Is it a defensive midfielder, did you say? Something like that, or is it a striker? You know one thing I would say, if you're going to be a footballer, you know one thing I would say to loads of people, right? Do positions that generally there's not much of. And one thing I would do, if I was a footballer, and I teach this, obviously, because I teach football over here, what I would do is that I always teach them to use both feet. Use both feet, because at the end of the day, the footballers who make it generally can play both-footed. They can play both-footed. And if you can play both-footed, you become versatile and you become a handyman sort of thing. So at the end of the day, if you can play both-footed, that's good. If you're a goalkeeper, try and work with both hands. Work with both hands, of course. Not many people know this. I started out as a goalkeeper, but I didn't grow tall enough to play goalkeeping full time. Of course, I didn't grow to the size that I was supposed to grow. Do you know what I mean? But I ended up being a fullback in my time, of course, guys. So but I played both footed. I was both footed, 2-footed. Of course, I think that's very important if you want to be a footballer these days, of course, guys. But you know what, Manchester United, there is going to be a number of rumours going around, splashing around, of course, around the media. It doesn't mean that they're all untrue. A lot of these things are true. A lot of the names on Manchester United's list are true. And I say 99% of them are true. You know, one thing is there's no smoke without fire when it comes to football. And when it comes to rumours with Manchester United do have a long list of players that they want at the moment. As we've mentioned, obviously, Nuno Mendes, of course, you know, Theo Hernandez, of course, guys. Of course, Quenda, you know, Giovanni Quenda is another one, you know, coming out of the, you know, of the rumours just the last couple of days. That's just the last couple of days. Man United are looking at that, of course. Do you know what I'm saying? So there is a number of players that Manchester United are interested in. There's Mendy, of course. Let's not forget Mendy, who we've been talking about, you know, recently as well, that Man United are interested in. So the thing is that list is so strong. The list is so long that, you know what, if Man United get one of them, the main thing is that list is very talented. And the thing is that you have a list of players that you want. And you know what? If you pick, I want a right back, I want a left back, I want a striker. If you pick those players, they're generally going to be talented because the list of players are so talented that they're more or less the same all the way up. Of course, you always want your first choice and your second choice, but sometimes it doesn't work like that, does it? Exactly what happened in the summer with Jared Branthwaite, and we ended up getting Lenny Euro. Man United wanted Jared Branthwaite, but ended up getting Lenny Euro, of course. Absolutely. Aït-Nouri is another one on the list. Wolverhampton Wanderers, I spoke about him a couple of days ago. Aït-Nouri is another one, guys. I'm losing track of left backs at the end of the day. There's a lot of players out there at Manchester United, of course, who are gaining interest. And every one of these players are very, very talented, of course, guys. Very, very, very talented. We have to say, do you know what I mean? And basically, Wolverhampton Wanderers seem to have a very good conveyor belt of players coming through, you know, and also a very good scouting system, of course. So Ryan Aït-Nouri, you know what I would say is a left back from Algeria. I mean, I think he scored 3 goals this season, and you know what, got 2 assists. So it's not too bad when you think about it as a left back. When you look at our left backs, are our left backs creating enough? Are they creating enough? He is only 23, of course, guys. Very good. He actually looks like Mohamed Salah. When you look at Aït-Nouri, he reminds me of Mohamed Salah, very, very much so. Or he actually looks like Ruben Amram. When you look at Aït-Nouri, of course, if you look at him in the pictures and stuff, he actually looks like Ruben Amram. The good thing and the advantage of these players is that they play at Premier League clubs. They play in the Premier League, so they've already got Premier League experience. Ineos are looking primarily for players who have Premier League experience, who are young, who are left back. Now, Aït-Nouri's market value is around 35 million euros. So that's not too much. That's not too much. That's not going to break. What's that? 27 million pounds? Something like that. That's not too bad, is it? At the end of the day. So we have to look at that as well. I mean, the price, if you're going to get a Quenda, you know what I mean, or Nuno Mendes, it's going to cost more money to get those players, of course. Do you know what I mean? So obviously Nouri does represent a good opportunity. He's only at the moment getting around 33,000 a week. So that's not too bad, of course. He has plenty of experience. He's got over 100 appearances in the Premier League. So definitely one to keep an eye on. You know, definitely one to keep an eye on. Sir Alex Ferguson used to always target players who played in the Premier League. His contract runs out in 2026. 2026, Aït-Nouri's contract runs out, of course. So one thing we would say is that, you know what, if we can pounce right now, if we can get that sort of deal, we can get it going. Look, I'm not saying that Aït-Nouri should be a priority. Do you know what? At the end of the day, as long as we get a quality left back, that's all I care about at the end of the day. I only care about the quality of the left back, of course. So what's the update on Euro? Euro hopefully will be on the bench against Bodo Glimt, Brian. He'll be on the bench against Bodo Glimt, hopefully. Fingers crossed. It looks that way, that he might be on the bench quicker, sooner rather than later, of course. Sooner rather than later. But Man United are interested in a number of left backs at the moment. We're also interested in a number of attacking players as well in regards to attacking midfielders, because we're going to be playing attacking midfielders, of course. Going forward, we're going to be playing 2 attacking midfielders, of course. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, when I spoke earlier about Cunha. Kazi. I spoke earlier about Cunha. Cunha, of course, is an attacking player for Manchester United. At the top of the show, has been talking about Cunha. Cunha has, a very, very good player. 7 goals this season, 12 matches, 3 assists. Absolutely brilliant. And you know what? He is 25. He's not that young, but he will cost about 45 million euros, of course. But you know, that is about 36 million pounds. It's not that bad, to be honest with you. And Brazilian, of course, international as well, Brazilian international. And you know what? He would represent a good buy as well, because obviously he is a Premier League player. He's a Premier League player as well. So very good player, very good centre forward as well. Let's not forget he's a centre forward and can score goals. He's scoring goals already for Wolverhampton Wanderers at a counter. He's a fantastic player, but another one who's on that list of players that Man United could sign, of course, guys. Just comment and saying, big up, Kazi. Big up, no problem, mate. No problem, bro. So, you know what? It's exciting times as Manchester United. Absolutely. Greetings, Jim. How you doing, my bro? How you doing? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the stream, Jim. I hope you're good. How you feeling? Hope everything's good. Hope your cycling's going well as well. Hope there's not many thunderstorms over there and stuff. I hope you're doing well, mate. It's good to see you. And you know what? Manchester United is an exciting time to be a Man United fan. I know that we had a disappointing result against Ipswich, but, funny enough, that result might actually work in our favour. That result might actually work in Man United's favour in regards to, Ruben Amorim learning about certain players, learning about that player can trust, that player can't trust, for example. And I do believe that it was an eye-opener for Ruben Amorim, a real eye-opener. I don't know if you saw it, guys, but when Marcus Rashford was substituted, Marcus Rashford, behind Ruben Amorim's back, it was a bit like this. Those are the small little details that really, people pick up on. I would say that. And I'm not going to dig at him because of it. But you know what? Those are the little details that people see, the media. Those are things you've got to take. At the end of the day, Marcus, you scored a goal, correct. You had a tap-in, correct. Good for you. Fantastic work from Ahmad, of course. But other than the goal, he didn't do anything. But I'm not just blaming him. Players like Bruno need to pick it up. Bruno, I'm talking about the senior players. You know what? There's a lot of target on Garnacho's back. There's a target on Garnacho's back when there's players like Rashford, players like Bruno, players like Casemiro who are not being consistent, who are not playing well. Seasoned pros who've been there for a long time, who've been playing football for a long time, won many things in the game, of course. I'm doing great, so I hope your day was good too. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, my friend Jim. Thank you so much. My day was absolutely lovely. Thank you very much, my friend. I loved it. I can't complain, guys. We wake up in the morning. We can talk about football. Life is lovable. Of course, as I always say, life is lovable. Absolutely. And that's what I would say. Blessings to the community, of course, every single day who come and bless me with their presence. Much love to you all, absolute legends, every single one of you. And you know what? We've been going now since June and it's been crazy, man. We've been going up and up. And you know what? I just have for you to thank. Look, we don't always agree, guys. Football was not always about agreeing with each other. Otherwise, it would be boring. Do you know what I mean? It would be boring if we all agreed with each other at the time, at the end of the day. But one thing's for certain, the respect has always remained there. You know what I mean? And that is the good thing about it. LT. Got to go, Sal. Thanks for the daily bread chat we have about the team. We love it. And don't worry about Sunday's result because we did need a reality check. And great for Amran to see what a huge job he has. Absolutely, LT. LT, you always come with good comments, mate. Very good comments. Keep it up, bro. And keep doing your thing, my friend, because you talk a lot of sense. Absolutely. I mean, look, we got Everton on Sunday, of course. Do you know what I mean? Everton, they're not rubbish. You know what I mean? They are the type of team. Who remembers when Everton in 2013 cost us the blood? 2012 cost us the league title. We were 3-1 up. We were 4-1 up. Was it? What did we go to? Was it? We went 3-1 up. Then we went 4-2 up. And then we ended up joining the game 4-4. They're that type of team. Let's not forget they are that type of team. They've done it to us before. They've always tried to beat Man United. That's their game of the season, apart from Liverpool, of course. But when Man United come to town, or when Everton come to Old Trafford, which it is, you know what? They always try to exert themselves against us because it is a final. I mean, you know what? It is a bit of a blessing in disguise for Man United, isn't it? Because no matter what team we play, Ipswich Town, Liverpool, Juventus, it is always a cup final for these teams because Man United attract that sort of attention. Man United have that sort of history, of course. And, you know what? Sometimes I just wish that, you know what, we were low key, we were on the low radar, of course, and doing our things undercover. And you know what? This is what brings the pressure to the club, of course. Sal, Cecilia, I hope we don't let Garnacho, if we let him go because of negative fans, our youth need to be nurtured. Absolutely, Jim. Spot on, my friend. Spot on. Absolutely fantastic, Jim's comment. At the end of the day, if Garnacho leaves Manchester United, look, people are talking to me on my Twitter. I mentioned it on Twitter today. People are talking to me about, oh, Garnacho, he's not going to go to Real Madrid. He's not going to go to Barcelona. If Garnacho leaves Manchester United, he's going to Real Madrid, he's going to Barcelona, he's going to PSG, he's going to AC Milan, he's going to Bayern Munich. That is where Garnacho is going. He's not going lower than that. Why is he going to those clubs? Because he's got a high ceiling. He's got a high ceiling. At the end of the day, he's top scorer in the Premier League right now. You know what I mean? He's an Argentinian international. That guy, under the right management and stewardship, for example, under Ruben Amorim, he's going to develop into a world-class player. And we have to look after our young players. We brought him in from Atletico Madrid. You know what I mean? A very young player, of course. He's got a family here now. Let's not forget he's got a baby. There's a lot of pressure on his head at Man United. There's lots. I know that, you know, if you play for Man United, you have to expect pressure. But at the same time, we have to look at the humane thing, the human side of things, the players. Unfortunately, there's certain people don't look at the human side. You know, even in the 90s, we had a human element to us. You have to have a human side. And you have to have a little bit of empathy with these players because they are young. And I mean, when I was 20, you know what I mean? I was completely different. I mean, I was the same. I was nice. I was kind and stuff. You know what I mean? But, you know, I looked at things in a different way and stuff like that. I was too nice to people, actually. I was too nice. I'm the sort of guy who would, you know what, be queuing up at an ATM and someone push in front of me and I wouldn't say anything. I'm that sort of guy. You know what I mean? I'm just like, leave it. You know what I mean? I'll just leave it because at the end of the day, that's how I work. That's how I roll, guys, at the end of the day. And eventually, you know what, when you down on young players and you continuously hit at them, you know what, eventually if you continue slaughtering them and slandering them, eventually that will get at them. You know what I mean? And this is why Manchester United have always prided themselves in looking after young players. We're known for that. We look after our young players. This is why we have young players who are coming through the ranks every single season, guys. Every season, we got a new player coming through. Don't be surprised if you see new players on the bench on Thursday night. The game is at Friday morning for me, guys, by the way. 12 a.m. I'm doing a watch along. You know, I'll be here at 11:30 p.m. But 12 a.m. the game kicks off on Thursday, guys. Just to let you know, Thursday stroke Friday. You know, so looking forward to that. But yeah, we got to look after those players. We got to look after our young players, of course. I mean, there are numpties. I mean, Ian Wright, Roy Keane. You know, I have said it. I say it. Paul Scholes has absolutely schooled that guy who done that thing at Old Trafford. They've absolutely shut him down, called him a fraud, called him a lot of names, you know, I mean, and he should just hide away for the rest of his life. Absolutely. Arsenal away next Wednesday. Very tough game, Ikazi. Very tough game. You know what? One thing that makes me nervous is Arsenal away. I mean, it's not that, you know what, it's basically about history, isn't it? I don't like Arsenal fans. That's one game. When I look at the calendar, there's a few games I look at. Liverpool away, Arsenal away, City away. But when it comes to historically and proper rivalries, Liverpool and Arsenal. So Liverpool away, Arsenal away are the two games I look at. I say, when are we playing Liverpool away? When are we playing Arsenal away? You know, when we play at the Emirates, it's always a big atmosphere, of course. We're going to be playing under the lights, which doesn't really help. You know, I do believe that it would be better if we're playing on an afternoon. Of course, in the daytime, we play better. But, you know, it is what it is. If Man United want to get to the level that they feel they should be, these are the games that they need to win. These are the games that they need to just pick up something. We played very well against Arsenal a couple of times under Erik ten Hag. We were unfortunate to lose last year. I remember the Garnacho goal and stuff like that. But that's one game when I think about Arsenal. If you're from London and I think about Arsenal, you think about the fans, and you know how sarcastic those fans are. You know how rude those fans are. They're worse than some of our worst fans. You know what I mean? And if we lose to Arsenal, it's going to be peace. I just don't want that to happen. But you know what? We think about that when it comes, of course. Obviously, we've got Everton first on Sunday, and let's see what happens. One of my biggest reasons we don't see the youth performing, it's not their fault, and they can't be blamed. It's the fault of the senior players that are lacking and not showing leadership. Jim Watkins, very, very, very good comment, mate. Because when you think about the class of 92, they had the likes of Steve Bruce, Peter Schmeichel, Ryan Giggs, Andy Cole, Eric Cantona, Roy Keane in the team already. So you basically had a whole spine, Dennis Irwin, you had a whole spine of a team that was there, that are proven winners, serial winners. It's easy to slot into a team like that. It's easy to slot into a team if you've got the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, and Busquets, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's easy. And that's one thing that we lack at the moment. We lack leadership. We ain't got no leaders at the moment. There's no player there. You know when we go 1-0 up, right? Or we go 2-0 up. You always have this feeling that Man United are going to let the team back into the game. That's why I was so shocked we won the FA Cup. You know, because you always have that feeling that, you know what, we're going to let the team back in the game. I mean, we might have done in the FA Cup final if there was 10 minutes longer. But you know what, you always have that feeling. And we need a player like Roy Keane to get them by the collar and say, listen, yeah, this game is not over. Let's go for a second goal. Let's finish this game off. Let's finish it off. And you know what, we don't have that characters because when a young player comes into the team, he looks left, he sees Rashford, he looks right, and he sees Luke Shaw, or he sees Dyla, and you think to yourself, what have they won in their careers? What have they won in their careers? Have they won anything in their careers? They haven't won anything in their careers. And that's what you start thinking that, you know what, how am I going to listen to that guy when he's a serial loser for the last decade? The only one they can turn around and look at and say, well, yeah, is obviously Casemiro. Casemiro is the man who's won 5 European Cups. Do you know what I mean? But does Casemiro look like he's on his last legs? Does he look like he wants to leave the club? Does he look like, you know, this is his last year? Now, when I think about Man United on Sunday and I think about Ruben Amorim and I think about the tactics, Man United, there was a problem because we seemed to press, but we seemed to stop about a meter before the players, before we actually pressed. So we will stop a meter before the player. And I'm like, why don't you just press them like that? Then I start to think of myself, is this a mental issue? Is this a talent issue? Is this an effort issue? Is this a down tooling issue? Is this a fitness issue? All these thoughts start going through your head. What is it? What is it? You know, lack of intensity. Where is this lack of intensity coming from when they're so intense in training? Are they scared? Is that another issue? Is that the reason? And, you know, all these thoughts start coming into your head. Then you think about, are they just not right for Man United? Because at the end of the day, effort is the first thing on the instruction manual when you sign for Man United. Effort, 100%, legacy, heritage. I mean, I come from a generation where Man United players would be limping on the pitch but carrying on playing. I remember Schmeichel limping all the way back to his tool. Do you know what I mean? You know, trying to score a goal from a corner because we're trying to get back into the game. I'm from that era, guys. Do you know what I mean? And he's limping and he still plays on. You know what I mean? I'm that guy. You know what I mean? I remember that. And, you know, I don't see that in these players now. And what is that? That's character. It's character. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember when Man United defeated PSG, Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. And we came back, obviously, from 2-0 down to win 3-1 at the, obviously, the Stade de France. It wasn't Stade de France. It was not Stade Gerland. I've been to the Stade Gerland, absolutely. But in France, in Paris, we won 3-1. And I don't know if you remember the the TikTok videos and stuff like that. There was a number of TikTok videos going out, and there was a TikTok video of Anthony Martial. There was a TikTok of Anthony Martial. So Marcus Rashford is stepping up to the penalty. And Marcus Rashford scores the penalty. And then you see Martial celebrating. He was like, character, talking about character. So that sort of made me think, you know what? Maybe that's what we're lacking, is character. Character. You know, you have to be a character. And we've shown it. We displayed it in so few and far between over the years. This is why we still remember that game. It was a fantastic result. I think it's one of the greatest results in Champions League history, even though we went at the next round, so it just meant nothing. But that is character. You know, and why did they win that game? And why did they come back? It's because the shackles were off. There was no pressure. You know, we had a young team that night. I mean, remember Chong was playing. I remember Greenwood was playing. You know, Lukaku up front with Rashford. You know, it was, you know, the shackles were off. You know what? We ain't got nothing to lose. We lost 2-1 at home. Let's see what happens. You know, and I feel like that's the thing that we can bring into the future because, you know, at the moment, Man United is too much pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Man United. So much. Everything is analyzed. Everything, whether it's playing, whether it's the team, whether it's the players, whether it's the fans, overanalyze. Football's a simple game, guys. Football's a simple game. And when you overanalyze and you know what, you get into that realms of anxiety and that anxiety resonates onto the pitch, etc. We need characters back. You know, we do need characters back, and we need winners back as well. Of course, what do? We ain't got no winners. It'd be great if those players won and created their own history and they won league titles so they can pass on that experience to young players. But they haven't done that in England. They haven't done that in England. They've done it in other countries, but they haven't done that in England, of course. Jim, Sal, I don't like Arsenal, period. Absolutely me. No chance at all. I can't stand them, in other words. I really can't. I can't stand them. I mean, big respect to Arsenal as a football club, but the fan base are absolutely the worst. They're the most diabolical fan base, most shameless fan base in football, in my opinion, Jim. I mean, we're like the same, ain't we? But you know what? They're the most shameless supporters in football, of course. Greetings, Kazi, Brian Foskett. Big up, Brian, of course, the legend in the chatters. Of course, guys, absolutely great. You know what? Can't wait. It is Tuesday. We are playing on Thursday, guys. Stroke Friday for me. And Bodo Glimt will not be an easy game. Let's not get it twisted. They're ahead of us in the Europa League group, of course. You know, they are ahead of us. So we're going to have to be very, very careful where we tread at Old Trafford on Thursday night, of course. So that means that we take that game very, very seriously. I'm very interested to see the lineup. I'm going to see if there's a reaction from Ruben Amorim. If he does drop some players, that is going to be telling, of course. If he doesn't drop Marcus Rashford, what do you guys think? If Rashford is not dropped, if Dalot is not dropped, what do you guys think is going to, about the manager? Is it same old, same old? You're not dropping the favourites again. You're not dropping the Marcus Rashford of this world again. I don't want players to play based on they scored a tap-in against Ipswich. I don't want that. I want players based on the way they performed over 90 minutes. You know what I mean? Because you want much rather have a player perform over 90 minutes than a player just get a tap-in. Because anyone could have got that tap-in at the end of the day. Rasmus Højlund, that could have been Rasmus Højlund at the end of the day. If you have a player that plays well on the pitch, you're much more likely to win the game rather than a player just gets a lucky deflected goal 1-0. You know what I mean? Because after that goal, we played rubbish, to be honest, if we're being honest with ourselves. Great point, Sal. We do need characters. I agreed. Absolutely characters. Characters are what get you through. I mean, Alex Ferguson famously, when he used to sign players, he didn't used to talk about football. I forgot the player who it was. I think it was Mark Hughes was talking on an interview, and he's talking about when he went to Alex Ferguson. It's one of those players. It's one of those. It might have been Andy Cole as well, but he's one of those players. But you know, he would say that talk about his personal life. He was talking about what he does for a living, what his hobbies are, you know, what he does in his spare time and stuff. He wouldn't even talk about football. He wouldn't talk about football because he feels like the personal life of the player is so important. And what is the personal life of a player? That represents the personal life, represents your character, doesn't it? Like if it was me and it was Alex Ferguson, if Alex Ferguson was in charge, you know that he would be speaking to Marcus Rashford to settle the damn down. He would say, settle down. You know, get married, have kids, relax, stop this. You're 27 years old, settle down. Stop this partying. Stop this going to basketball games. Settle down. And when you retire in 10 years, even less than that. Look, people forget that a footballer's, duration isn't long. Marcus Rashford could be retired at 33, 34. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And then what? You know what I mean? He can retire and enjoy his life. He can go to as many basketball games as he pleases, as he so wills. He can do that. You know what I mean? But that is about character. That is about, look, I want to win for Manchester United. I'm going to meet Ruben Amorim for the first time, so it's not advisable for me to go anywhere right now. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea can't stand them big time. Me neither, Brian. Brian, you know what? It is chronic for me. I mean, sometimes I wish they didn't exist. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what? It's just like, for goodness sake, it's one of those irritating things. You know what? If someone told me, you know what, if there's something you can erase from football, it would be them. It would be them. If there's something you can erase from football, it would 100% be them, of course. Big up, Brian. What's wrong in doing parties? 48 hours before a game. A lot. How you doing? No joke, no hat, no hate. How you doing, my friend? My Bayern Munich is back in the house, guys. Yeah, there's a lot wrong. It depends what you want in regards to that. It depends if you want to be successful. Sal, you heard that Amorim open now. He's not going to take him back. It's not going to happen. It's all media hype. Basically, Pogba was in Miami when they were talking about him coming training at Man United. He wasn't even at Man United. That's what the media say. He's going to be a podcaster. He's going to be a fan channel. Maybe one day he'll come on the show, guys. Can you imagine he comes on the show? Maybe we can have a chat then. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That would be funny, wouldn't it? If I have Paul Pogba on my show and Stretford Post, that'd be incredible. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll do that. But I do think he's going to go into the realm. I mean, I heard he might go to PSG. I heard that. Don't shoot the messenger. But I heard he might go to PSG. And yeah, I wish him the best of luck. You know what? I've got no hate against him and stuff. But you know what? It is what it is. What happened to him? Sal, you're speaking facts. So true. These old players keep getting picked. I'd rather play the youth rather than Rashford, Bruno, and Dalot. I'm sorry if it sounds controversial. That's facts, Jim. It's just facts. At the end of the day, there's like some sort of barrier that you can't criticize the old players. Oh, you can't say that about Bruno. Oh, you can't say that about Dalot. Oh, you can't say that about Rashford. But they're the players that are down tooling. Look, I can look at Garnacho and I can look at Ahmad and I can look at all these players, these young players with Ugarte and stuff, Xerxes, and I'd say, well, at least they are young. At least they are young. At least they can learn their trade. Do you know what I mean? That's one thing I would say in regards to that. You know, these players have played hundreds of games for Man United. Not hundreds of games for Man United, and they're still struggling. They're still struggling on my mental health and stuff like that. I'm not saying that mental health, you know what I mean, it's a lie in that. I understand what mental health is, but one thing we have to understand is that we're Manchester United, of course. I don't know. I mean, at what ages will it be 100K? Jamal Musiala and Pogba. Jamal Musiala would request a lot of wages. I would be absolutely delighted if we got Jamal Musiala. Paul Pogba you can keep. But Musiala, I'll be absolutely delighted if we've got him. But of course, his wages are going to be absolutely astronomical, guys. Astronomical. I don't think Ineos are going to, you know, as Jim Ratcliffe said, is that he basically said that we want to produce our own Mbappes, our own Musialas, for example. You know, because when you look at Man United over the last 10 years, we spent over £1 billion and we ain't got one £100 million player. If we have got a £100 million player, it's the players that come from the youth, Garnacho and Mainu. That's it. Where else can you say there's a £100 million player? You know what I mean? That, you know, and at the end of the day, that is true. It's about time we built our own legacy, of course, guys. Big up, no joke, no hate. Guys, it's been a fantastic show. Thank you for joining me, everyone. You absolute legends, you absolute diamonds. I'll be back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn, guys. Don't forget to join me in there. Poke your head in, even if you poke your head in and say hello. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Spread the news, of course, about the channel as well, of course. When I watch these players I play, I can see where the psychology state is at. Absolutely. And Sunday was telling, wasn't it? Sunday was very, very telling, of course. We ain't giving Musiala tonight. Sorry to say that your club project is a very long term and Musiala wants to. Yeah, it's a fair point, mate. I think it's unrealistic that we're going to sign Musiala as well. I don't think he's going to come to Manchester United. You know, I know that sounds defeatist of me. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Musiala will sign for a Real Madrid or something like that along those lines. But never say never in football. No joke, no hate. Never say never. Stranger things have happened, of course. Big up, Darko. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good. Good to see you back, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for coming back, my friend. Good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure. Sal, even Amram has bowed down to these players. No, he hasn't bowed down to nobody. It's 1 game, 2 training sessions, Darko. Come on, my friend. Brother, come on, man. He's not bowed down to anyone. Keith Share, Lacey, and Bruno, Sal, both very good to be true. No joke, no hate. That is no joke, but that is very good commenting. Absolutely knows his stuff. Bayern Munich fan. Don't forget to follow him and subscribe to him. Absolute legend, of course, guys. Absolutely. My friends, I'm out. Take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Don't forget to join me. It's a big show tomorrow. You know, I've got a lot of things coming up these next couple of days. I've got, obviously, the match preview of Bodo Glimt as well tomorrow. So look out for that as well. So lots of very interesting, of course. Have a fantastic evening, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Take it easy. Have a good night. Peace.